On Monday, August 16th, 2021, in a work-related phone call with a Supreme Master Television team member, our most beloved Supreme Master Ching Hai answered questions about the current situation in Afghanistan and other recent world events, while expressing her concern regarding how they have been handled by the United States as well as world leaders in general.
Master, right now people blame Biden for the fall of Afghanistan, but it was Trump who started the peace process with the Taliban for the withdrawal of the American troops.
Correct.
Is this Biden's fault, really?
Yeah, I think so, yes. Because it's not about the withdrawal, you know?
Yes.
It's just that Trump made it differently. And Mr. Biden, he did it with his own ego idea. That's why it went wrong. Mr. Trump, ex-President Trump, he signed a peace deal with the Taliban, but he made many conditions attached to protect the troops while they're withdrawing, and the civilians who were in Afghanistan, as well as the people who work for the American troops while they were there.
Yes.
And the people who work for the embassy as well as for the troops, like the interpreter, even the cleaner, the driver.
Wow.
All these people have to be safe, have to be protected before the troops withdraw.
Right.
And the peace deal signed, the latest for the withdrawal, is signed for May 1st, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
But after Mr. Biden went to the office in the White House, he made it different. He prolonged the withdrawal date. And meanwhile, the Taliban already warned the Americans that they have to keep their promise and withdraw on time, or else. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, but because Mr. Biden did not do according to schedule, so that gives them an excuse to attack and to seize the moment and to seize the excuse to take over the government of Afghanistan and the capital, Kabul, for example.
Yes.
It's just one of their administration failures. One of a series of administration failures from Biden. It's just because they don't concentrate on leading and thinking of what to do for the sake of other countries as well as the Americans. They just concentrate on hunting Trump and his supporters and, whatever.
Yeah.
So they're occupied with the wrong thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why. Before the withdrawal of the U.S. troops, the President Trump has signed with them many conditions to protect the Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah, as well as the related workers for the Americans. You have to protect them.
Yeah.
Not just leave them like that. And have to protect other international offices and workers and foreigners in Afghanistan as well. Not just Americans, but international companies and offices and embassies and other soldiers or the interpreters for different countries there. Instead of that, they delay the process to give the Taliban an excuse. And don't have any protection for anybody,
right,
including Americans and workers in Afghanistan. So they scramble. They're flying all the way to the airport and waiting there. And the embassy people has to be lifted from the roof of the embassy.
Wow.
It's really a shame.
Yes.
They learn nothing from Vietnam. So what's the use of having a leader like that? Yeah? Just to harm your own people? That's why I told you they should resign. They should abdicate. All of them. All this group of Biden.
Yeah, Master, they should.
Yeah. Should have left Trump in the office. Because before they withdraw, there must be a condition in the peace accord. Trump did all that to secure the safety and peaceful withdrawal of his troops and his people and the people that work for Americans as long as they were there for 20 years long. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because they will be in danger also after the Americans left. You know, maybe they will be revenged upon. You know, they might be tracked down and killed or imprisoned or whatever. Everybody is scared. It's normal like that.
Yes.
It's normal like that. Not many opposition enemies would tolerate the other side of the so-called enemies.
Right.
So they just did what they want, and they were so fast, more than anybody can imagine. They just took over the whole country, almost now. And they're already in the presidential palace, and the president of Afghanistan already fled the country. And many people fled the countries. The Afghan troops also fled the country. And the journalists and the interpreters and all the people who worked for the Americans before, they were hiding. They said, I'm dying, I'm going to die. They were very scared. This is really very sad, and I'm really worried for these people also, you know.
Yes,
imagine if it's you, suddenly you are without protection.
Right.
Without job, without protection, and facing the so-called enemies. My God, who wouldn't be scared, huh?
Yeah.
It's not just them, but their families and friends and all the, you know, acquaintances to go with it. Yeah.
In the last couple of months, we noticed 2 interpreters being killed.
In hiding and desperate, this former interpreter and his family begged to be moved to the UK. He says a year spent working with British forces in Afghanistan means a lifetime of fear from the Taliban.
In the coming months, Taliban will get me. So as soon as possible, they will find me, they will slay me, so they will slaughter and beheaded me and my family.
You look very frightened.
Exactly. Too much stress. It is not easy for a person to work a lot with international organization, having more than 10 years experience of working with international, and now no one of them helped me. I'm thinking about my future, my daughters. What will happen to them if they kill me, 2 daughters without mother?
The name of interpreter is very bad in Afghanistan. People hate, especially those they know that I work for British forces, for coalition forces. They will take their revenge. So they will kill us, they will cut our heads because of my past background, because of my past service with British forces.
So that was a real failure. I think it's okay if they blame Biden, huh?
Yes,
It's a very unwise policy.
Right.
Yeah. They don't concentrate on the right thing, that's why. They concentrate on revenge, that's why. And that is bad also, because people who think they are very small-minded, petty.
True.
And on one side they keep saying, oh, unify America, I'm for all Americans. But on the other side they're hunting the so-called enemies. We don't exist. The enemies don't exist. They are the enemy. They make the enemy.
Yeah.
It's not just to blame the president or government alone. It's the people's karma.
Yeah.
And people's habits and people's way of life. They don't change. They don't see further in the future. They just see very nearby. And even to be vegan, how difficult can that be, huh?
Yes, it's so simple.
How difficult can that be? They have nothing to lose, but they don't do it. Well, many are doing it now, but still, it's better to come from the government, you know?
Yes.
They make many laws which are not necessary and harmful, like the proposal, something that anybody can go into any shop and steal things that they can sign into law. But to sign into law to make people vegan and ban all the meat, they don't do.
Right.
Because they themselves cannot put down that piece of meat for the country's sake, for the world's sake.
Yes.
Yeah, just addictive.
Yeah.
Meat and all that, they cannot put down. That's why they cannot sign that into law up to now.
Yes. Master, in a recent statement, the UN Secretary General blamed coal mining and fossil fuels, but not the livestock industry, as the main reason for the damaging effect of global warming. Why would he address CO2 and not methane as the most harmful cause, despite all the scientific evidence?
Yeah, I was very disappointed that the great Secretary General of the UN, Prabhu, talk about that. He blamed it on the industries and coal mining and all that stuff. These are not the main cause of our global warming. I mean, it is one of the factors, but smaller, and still have time to deal with. Not the methane. Methane from animals is the number one driving force of the global warming. Everybody knows that, and he should know that. But he ignores it, just so that he can enjoy meat and wine continue like before. Shameless, really shameless. I have no more respect for these kind of leaders anymore. I'm so disappointed and so hurt because they're hurting people.
Yes.
They don't tell the truth. They don't support the truth. They're hurting people. They're harming the planet. Maybe they could not put down a piece of meat or whatever, bloody animals from their mouth. Or they took bribes, from the animal industry. I don't know which case, or maybe both. Talking about this, I wonder what kind of leaders and leaderesses who are responsible for the safety of their citizens and their co-inhabitants could see all this suffering and pain around them in the world, and their hearts don't move.
Right.
They are not moved in sympathy or sorrow or compassion for the beings who are in this situation. Humans and animals alike.
Agree, Master.
I wonder what kind of men or women they are.
Right.
And just chasing after petty stuff, petty vengeance or petty whatever work that they're doing, whatever intention that they're harboring inside their head.
Yes.
And not doing their job as a leader of the world and of their country and of their community and of their organization, whatever, especially the UN. They're supposed to be the leaders of the world.
Right. It's shameful.
Yeah. It makes me wonder. And I'm sure many people wonder as well. You think so?
Yes, Master. I agree.
I cannot believe this, because last time we saw the report that the UN and all the nations signed the accord that they have to reduce meat, and then now suddenly they change their tone again, like blaming it on coal miners or industrial people. Yeah.
Yes.
It's beyond my comprehension.
Doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Seems like they only worry about themselves and their power, their position, and don't care about who dies, who lives.
Really beyond understanding.
Yeah, it's really, I don't want to say what, but it's really disgusting. It's really repulsive. I have no words anymore, okay, truly.
Yes, it's terrible.
Just disgusting feeling. So disgusting feeling. Not only their hearts were not moved by the sufferings of others around them or in the animal factories, but continue to eat their meat, drink their blood, and call that food and enjoy the suffering of others. This is beyond any humane comprehension. They are not religious people, even though they claim they go to the church and all that stuff. It's all fake. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, Master.
It's all fake. It's all the work of Satan.
It's horrible.
I cannot imagine any humane being could do all this, could ignore the suffering and enjoy it at the cost of the suffering and pain and anguish of others, humans or animals. Do you understand?
Yes, it's really terrible.
That's what pains me, having to live in this world with this type of so-called humans. Any other things?
Yes, I have another question regarding the Mexican immigrants who have been kicked out of America. Is this the right solution, Master?
What else to do? Even if it's not right, it's too late now to correct. They should have followed Trump's way of handling it before.
Yes.
I read somewhere that a court ordered Mr. Biden to revert it back to Trump's stay in Mexico policy. before Biden.
Yes.
I hope they would do it because they just openly invited everybody to come in without taking care of the consequences, especially in the middle of the pandemic.
Right.
And now the pandemic is even rising up like a skyscraper in America.
Yes.
Yeah, it's terrible to invite people and then suddenly turn around and say, get out of my house.
Yes.
How does it make people feel, you know? And now the government of Mexico is pressured to take the Mexicans back. And it's not that simple, you know, like, okay, they take them back. It's not like that.
Yes.
Take them back means they might not have any more homes to go back to.
Right.
And they have probably sold everything to give it to the smuggler or whatever so that they can go to America. Understand? And now suddenly they came back, there's no home, no job, nothing for them. And then the government of Mexico has to take care of them. It's a very big burden and a very bad diplomacy as well.
Yeah.
A very bad humanitarian way of handling.
Right.
I think they all should resign. These are top people, beginning with Mr. Biden and then his, whatever, Harris and whatever.
Yes.
Pelosi. They all did not do anything good. Ever since I learned anything from them, they do nothing good. They did nothing good. They did nothing really with wisdom at all.
Master, these are very sensitive topics.
Yeah. I'm risking myself to tell you the truth like that because I'm so angry inside. I'm so anguished. Actually, that's the word. I'm so anguished for all the innocent people who have been misled, who has no true strong leader to help them in time of trouble, in time of true need.
Yes.
This is the moment when the leaders should step out and say, look here, for your sake, for our sake, for our world's sake, for our children's sake, please, we must change our habit of meat eating into a vegan way of life. That's very simple.
It's true.
Huh?
Yes.
People won't kill them, even if they say that, even if they make the law like that. People won't kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might not listen, but at least they say something correct.
Yes.
And as a strong leader, wise leader, to lead people in the right direction to save their lives. No, they don't do anything like that. Just worry about their own petty self. I'm really anguished. I'm too anguished to even care for my safety. So I told you all this, okay?
What advice can Master give for the governments of the world?
In general, you must rule people with heart, with caring intention, with true, really loving dedication to your country and your people. Then people will feel it. Even if you might make mistakes sometimes, like every human, but people will feel that you are genuinely caring for them. Then they would forgive you, and then you can start a new make repairment for that mistake.
Right.
But if, for example, if you need tens of thousands of troops or National Guard and fence and barbed wire around your presidential palace on day one already, then you are not doing a good job.
Yes, definitely.
Then you should know people are not for you, not with you.
Yes.
And you should be more cautious in how you deal with internal and international affairs.
Right.
That's a good sign of warning. Instead of trying to dig out a bigger hole of dividing people's heart and mind, you know, within the country.
Yeah.
Maybe you have made mistakes, or maybe you have been illegally installed into the presidential palace, but you could change. You could be genuinely caring, loving, and tending to the people, especially they are already in big, deep water with COVID-19 and, you know, looting, burning, and a lot of protests and turmoil around the country already.
Yes.
Because if you do things genuinely with love, people will feel it.
Yeah, it's true.
And they will support you, and they will forgive you, and they will try to work with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Generally speaking.
Yes, Master.
And if, suppose, somehow you are in power, or you seize the power by chance or by force or by circumstances, and your citizens immediately want to flee from your regime, that means you're not doing a good job.
Right.
That means you're not following God's will and God's principle.
The women we've been speaking to inside the country are now too frightened to talk on camera. Those brave enough to leave the house are wearing burqas. Reports of women already disappearing from public life.
Women here seem to have largely melted away.
Why do you think you're selling more burqas right now?
Because the Taliban took over and all the women are afraid, he says. So that's why they're all coming in and buying burqas.
If she's not wearing the abaya or she's wearing high heels, then it's the standard 40 lashes.
It's because of you.
They've just told me to stand to the side because I'm a woman.
The Taliban is back to its old ways. I'll start with this letter. It has a Taliban seal. What does it say? Parents should quote-unquote gift their daughters as wives to Taliban fighters. They want to reward terrorists with wives, like women are some kind of an object to be gifted. Reports say this letter came from the Taliban's Cultural Commission. It asks imams in captured areas to prepare a list of the names of women in their communities, girls who are above 15 years of age and widows under 45 years. The letter says they will be married to members of the Taliban. They'll be transported to Pakistan's Waziristan, where they will be converted to Islam and reintegrated. They want to impose an extreme interpretation of the Sharia law in Afghanistan. In fact, they're already doing it, implementing old rules in some of the districts. Women are not being allowed to step out alone. The Taliban says they must be accompanied by a male companion. They're being barred from receiving an education. Taliban have clearly not evolved.
ما را بزور تفنگ کشید بچهای ما را کشت دخترای ما را بزور نکاح کرد می بردن در خانه 3-4 دختر از نارین بردن در خود نکاح کردن ما مجبور شدیم که خدا کشیدیم
تشویش بسیار زیاد است فکر کنین ما از خانه میبریم دیگه دی حالتی که حاله است دی حالت امروزی که افغانستان داره از خانه که برای آدم باید دعای خدا خوانده بره چون نمیفهمه که از اونجا زنده میای یا
I'm going to lose my everything that my father and I and my whole family has worked for, every girl has worked for, every person who has worked for in the last 20 years. This means losing your houses, losing your dreams, your goals, your ambitions, your identity as Afghan, everything. I feel weak right now. I feel like crying right now. I might be murdered by tomorrow. I might not be able to go out anymore. I might not be able to mobilize anymore. I might not be able to work or educate myself.
Is your view that there is a war being waged on women in the Arab world?
Absolutely, Mehdi. I mean, when 12-year-old girls are dying giving childbirth in Yemen, when 91% of Egyptian girls and women have had their genitals mutilated, when 16-year-old girls in Morocco are forced to marry their rapists so that their rapist can escape conviction, that is nothing short of a war.
So no matter what religion you belong to, no matter what idea you follow, if you want to take control of the power and rule your country, you must make sure that your people know your genuinely good intention. Don't make people fear you, run away from you, flee from you at all costs, at the cost of their lives and all that. Then you should be ashamed.
Right.
That's what I say.
Yes, Master.
You should be ashamed if your citizens flee from you. And if you try to coerce them to stay or use the brutal means to beat them up, to force them to stay, or to oppress them to accept your policy, your regime, then you're not doing a good job. Then God will see to that. God will not let it be continuously for long.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. Very simple. Rule with heart. Rule with love. Rule with caring. Rule with genuine compassion for your people. And then the international community will also respect you, support you, and all will be happy and have peace. Yeah?
Yes,
okay? All right.
exactly.
Most caring Master, in this time of so many upheavals, your loving wisdom and selfless concern show the way for all of us to reconsider our actions and true motives. We have hope and pray that the world's leaders and governments will acknowledge Master's courageous and wise words and thus bring countless lives to peace and safety. May cherished Master always have serenity, good health, and the protection of all glorious heavens. For the full broadcast of this phone call with Supreme Master Ching Hai, please tune in to Between Master and Disciples on Wednesday, September 1st.